Yo, what's up guys, Boss here, and I'm back from the YouTube video, and this time we're going to test the newly buffed cards on ladder. So if you guys didn't know, the Goblin Hut got a buff. It now spawns 3 Spear Goblins when it dies. It might not seem like a huge buff, but as you guys know, the Barbarian Hut kind of got a similar thing. The lifetime of the Barb Hut was 10 seconds shorter, spawns 2 barbs when it dies, and look at how much better it got. Same thing with the Goblin Hut. I think the same thing's going to happen to it, because I mean, it's really helpful to have those 3 extra Spear Goblins if, say, a balloon takes it out, whereas before you would have nothing hitting the balloon. Now you have 3, or against even stuff like Giants, Golems. Very helpful overall, in my opinion. Skeleton Barrel, much faster, just much faster. The annoyance of it is kind of crazy now, because it goes so fast that there's a very slim chance the other person can stop it before it gets death damage, unless they spend a ton of elixir or have a building. And even though the skeletons don't always make it to the tower, if you're getting death damage every time, that really adds up, especially in chip decks like this one. So this is kind of like a bait deck. We're about top 4,000 right now. Not really too worried about my ranking because the season just started, but we're still high enough. We're gonna verse, I'm sure, people with max cards still, all that stuff, as we're testing out these newly buffed cards. And this specific deck, people have won GCs with the deck. This exact deck I'm using, that's actually how I found the deck. I saw a few people win GCs with it, thought it would be pretty good to use, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try it out. So I feel like it's a pretty cheap deck, so I feel like we wouldn't be making the first move. Looks like he goes for Dark Prince on the right. I guess he wasn't really paying attention, and he for some reason thought the miner was on the right, even though I played it on the left. So what we could do is we're gonna go Skeleton Barrel, play it here. I mean, I know we have damage on the left, but we have the Knight tanking a little bit, so we might as well take advantage of that, go with the Skeleton Barrel on the right. And we're gonna see what he does here. He mistimed the arrows. So I mean, I know you guys might be thinking like, okay, that's like a really, you know, bad play. Like, how does he mistime those? Well, in my opinion, with the Skeleton Barrel getting the speed buff, I think a lot of people are going to be mistiming their spells just because people aren't used to it. This is usually how this works for things like that the first few days of the season. People aren't used to things, so a lot of people are just like mistiming spells and stuff on the Skeleton Barrel, which is why I think the Skeleton Barrel is going to be really, really annoying. Now, obviously, the miner at the beginning, when he expected that to be on the right, I really don't know what he was doing there. But the Skeleton Barrel, I can really understand why he did that. And you can see the Spear Goblins, really annoying for him when they spawned out of the Goblin Hut. He had to waste 2 elixir bats just to take care of them, because otherwise they would have dealt way too much damage on his towers. So we're going to go Skeleton Barrel here, because we just want to be applying pressure. I don't really feel like it's good to leak elixir with this deck. And then Goblin Hut to defend this Giant here. And now we got to watch out. He didn't commit any elixir on the... Oh my gosh, the Dark Prince went back to take care of the skeletons. That's pretty funny. That's probably not really what he wanted, because it took longer for the Dark Prince to help out here on offense. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The fact that the Goblin Hut spawns 3 Spear Goblins now, it's extra distraction for things like that Dark Prince behind the Giant. So, really nice defense there. You can see Goblin Hut really strong at things like Giants and Golem, other tanks like that, especially if they don't have a big spell for taking it out. And even if they have a Fireball gets nearly no value against something like a Goblin Hut. Even Poison isn't the best first hit, because when you play it on the Goblin Hut, yeah, it'll take out most of it, but then you still have those 3 Spear Goblins that spawn afterwards. So we're going to see here if he goes for a spell on these bats. Guess we'll go Skeleton Barrel in front here. We only have about roughly 20 seconds remaining in this match, so if we just play defense and the Skeleton Barrel distracts that, we should be completely fine here. Really don't see him any way of breaking through. Yeah, I don't think he can break through here with 10 seconds left, especially with the Goblin Hut being a pretty nice tank, having a lot of HP. So that's going to be it. Nice first win there. I mean, obviously this guy did end up making a couple mistakes, but I think a lot of people are going to do that, especially people who just don't verse the Skeleton Barrel a lot, or just aren't used to it, because I mean, before not many people were using the Skeleton Barrel, so it's just going to take a while for people to get used to, in my opinion. But anyways, we're top 3,000 now. We're going to go ahead and search for the next game, see if we can keep pushing up. Don't know what a good goal would be. Maybe 6,000 might be kind of a lot, but definitely try to win at least another few games or so. So we'll give this guy the good luck here. you're saying, wow, he might know who I am. I don't know. We'll go Goblin Hut, though, start the game off. I think it's a good starting play. It's pretty safe, in my opinion, because there's not really any way they can punish a Goblin Hut. So it looks like he's going to have Lava Hound. We don't have a lot of answers for the Lava Hound, so what we need to do is apply a little bit of pressure here in the opposite lane. Get ourselves cycled to our Dart Goblin, so we're able to take out the Lava Hound, hopefully. And look at all the damage we're getting with the Skeleton Barrel. He goes for a Miner on the Spear Goblin Hut. Not really sure what he was doing there. Like, I don't think that was the best Miner, but we can go for Barb Barrel here and probably just a Knight to kind of tank. And then we should be pretty much fine here. A couple of the minions make it to the tower, but honestly, I'm really not too worried about that. I'm going to go for a Miner in this lane, and then Bats here. Kind of have a little bit of a split lane push. I feel like this is pretty good because it's kind of annoying for him to deal with, especially with him not having... I think he zapped and he didn't have it in cycle. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken. Go Skeleton Barrel here just to distract this Inferno Drag, and it was really unlucky for him that he had to spend a Fireball on those Bats, because that's not a... Yeah, things are not really looking good for him at all here. But this is what I'm saying. This deck is really obnoxious for the other person to deal with, especially in single if they're using a Golem or Lava Hound deck, because it's really hard for them to build up big pushes and also defend your like spam in the other lane at the same time. So we'll set up another Goblin Hut here. I expect him to probably just go for Lava Hound in the back. At least that's what I would do. Try to like build up a push. Looks like he goes for Lava Hound in the right lane, so we're gonna apply a little bit of pressure here. In the left lane, we'll just go for a Miner and Barb Barrel. That should be enough of pressure because that'll take his tower if he ignores it. So I really, guys, don't know how he's going to win this, because he's going to need to not only take... So it looks like we got a good poison there. And look at the Goblin Hut kiting the balloon there. And he goes for Fireball, but doesn't hit everything. And then the Spear Goblins are helping out there, just... Knight doesn't catch the Dart Goblin. I didn't get it down in time. That was kind of my fault. I definitely could have. We're going to go Bats here, Skeleton Barrel, and Miner in the back, and then have Poison ready if he plays Barbarians. But with 30 seconds to go, I'm not really sure there's much he can do. I mean, looks like he's going to try to take our left tower here. And honestly, guys, I think he might take it because we don't really have a lot of... well, answers to it, but it looks like he gave up. That's going to be GG. So we actually ended up beating a Lava Hound deck there, which we don't have a ton of answers for, because as you know, we just have kind of poison to use on defense for balloons and such like that. Dart Goblin and Bats, which the Bats usually will just end up getting zapped. But, I mean, I feel like with our fast cycle and just the fact that we can pressure him so much, and the Skeleton Barrel with how annoying it is right now, might not actually be that bad. So we're at 5,900. 2,400 in the world. Search for the next game and versus Cody here. So we could start the game off with a Skeleton Barrel or a Miner. I'm thinking Skeleton Barrel would probably be the best option here, and then we'll have Poison ready in case he wants to play something. But with him just playing Bats, I'm not really going to do anything there. We're going to go Poison on the Dart Goblin. That should kill it. Yeah, I was hoping I got it down in time. Was a little worried that it might have been too late, but it looks like it was fine. So, you know, Barb Barrel, guys, we could have ourselves a mirror matchup here, because from the looks of it, he's using kind of the same deck. So we'll kind of have to see. Wouldn't be surprised if it is a mirror matchup. So this would be good. Glad we're versing a mirror, because hopefully I can end up like winning and, you know, like show what you would want to do in a mirror matchup, right? So with him going really aggressive there, I think I'm going to go in myself with a Skeleton Barrel and Bats, because he doesn't have poison for this. He's going to have to Barb Barrel the Skeleton Barrel, but then when he does that, I'm not sure what he's going to do for the Bats. Yeah, you can see that was really good there. I kind of identified his cycle. So again, the reason why I went in there that aggressively is because I had a feeling this was a mirror match, and from the looks of it, definitely is, especially if he has Goblin Hut. So yeah, that's why that ended up working. He didn't have a poison in cycle, so I knew he wouldn't really have anything for the Bats, especially if I had a tank down for his Dart Goblin, which I did because I had the Miner. So no way he could have killed the Bats, and Barb Barrel doesn't hit air, so we just got so much value there, and there wasn't really much he could have done. So we're just going to kind of take this slow here. We'll go Knight, and then we'll poison if necessary. Like, if he plays Bats behind his Skeleton Barrel, I'm definitely going to poison. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do, so we're definitely going to poison. We're going to go Barb Barrel just to make sure that the Skeletons don't get too much value or take our tower. And because he went really aggressive with his own poison, I think I'm going to go for Skeleton Barrel and then Dark Goblin behind here, because we need to make sure we're killing these. Okay, I'm gonna poison the Dark Goblin just because I feel like it's annoying. And now I know we don't have poison for the... Oh my gosh, guys, it looks like he has Mega Knight. I hate it when people, like, whip out the surprise factor and you don't know it. Like, I had no idea he had Mega Knight. I thought he was using the exact same deck as me, but I guess the only difference is that he has, I guess, no Miner, or what does he not have? Because he has Poison too. Oh, he doesn't have Knight. That's the difference. So he doesn't have Knight, and he has Mega Knight instead. But you can see, this is why I kind of prefer having the Knight in the deck, because your cycle is just a bit faster, and it's a bit cheaper of a tank, but I can see why, people would want to have, like, Mega Knight in the deck, because I guess it's good versus, like, Hogs and stuff like that. And even things like maybe... gotta get the Goblin Hut down there tanking. And yeah, that's going to be GG. So another nice win there versus a very, very similar deck. Only difference was he had Mega Knight instead of the Knight. But besides that, pretty much the same thing. So as I said, I think this deck is going to be quite popular. Maybe some different variants of it. So yeah, we'll go for the next game here. Maybe we can end up hitting 6,000. We're top 2,000 now. Well, actually, let's open this real quick. And we need some royal deliveries, hopefully. We don't get it. Maybe we'll get it here. Yeah, looks like we don't get any. Alright, let's just search for the next game here. See if we can keep this win streak going. Maybe we could win all the rest of the games. All of the games until we reach 6K. That would be really ideal. Reversing Wiz here. We'll go ahead and start with Split Bats in the back. I feel like it's a pretty safe starting move. I wouldn't really want to start with something like a Knight or Dark Goblin in the back. I think we should Goblin Hunt here just because I feel like it's a pretty good counter to the Mortar, especially since it has... Let's Poison. We're gonna... Not really worried about hitting the tower here. I'm honestly more worried about hitting the Baby Dragon and the Mortar, just so the Baby Dragon doesn't get damage on our tower. And it looks like we take no Mortar shot from the tower, so far pretty interesting Mortar deck on his end. Not really sure why he has the Baby Dragon in it, because that's pretty unusual. I mean, not really Mortar decks would have a card like Baby Dragon in it. See if we could activate King here. I'm a little skeptical on if it does, because... Oh, wow. It looks like I misplayed it. I think maybe the bats had to be one tile lower. I'm not really sure, though. We'll go Knight here. He just used his log, so we could probably go ahead and play Skeleton Barrel. See if we catch him off guard here. And I'm even going to pair up with a Miner, and we should have enough Elixir. Oh my gosh, guys. So it looks like he screwed up the Mortar. That's not good. We'll go Dark Goblin here. By the time the Mortar shoots again, the Dark Goblin should have gotten so much damage on it that it should be pretty much almost dead. So at this point, I'm not really... too worried if the Mortar gets a shot on a tower, just because look at how much damage we got on his tower, and also because we only spent 3 elixir on the Mortar. So I would have rather, instead of spending extra elixir on the Mortar, just spent 3 like I did, and then it being almost dead, so don't really have to worry about it. I don't really know what this guy's doing, but he just dropped a naked poison on my tower. Guys, I'm telling you, early season ladder really unpredictable, but I'm sure you guys are used to... I'm actually, like, guys, even though we're not versing like top tier players right now, I still think this is beneficial to you guys, because I think at 5K trophies, you guys are used to this. These like maxed out level 13s just dropping, like, you know, cards randomly for no reason, because that's kind of what's been happening this video. You remember the first game, he played the Dark Prince there, even though no, it was the complete opposite, actually. Alright, anyways, let's focus, because we don't want to choke this match here. Mortar's distracted. It's actually hitting the Miner that was on his tower. That's fantastic. And look at this Ewiz and Mortar going to die in the poison, and the Mortar does not get another shot on our tower. It's going to die before it does. We're going to go another Goblin Hunt here just to distract the Mortar. And I'm going to go Miner, this time playing it in the back, because I don't want him to predict it. Looks like he ends up going for a Skarmy on top of it. I think if we poison and then just cycle back to another poison, we should, I hope, have this game wrapped up here. So Bar Barrel on that Firecracker, obviously, and tower is, I think, probably about, I want to say like 5 poison ticks away, maybe 6. I think we poison here. Like, I'm not too worried about the skeleton army. I think we can just bar barrel it. Yeah, not really sure how many ticks that was. I think 6, right? Because it... Yeah, I think it was 6 because it stayed alive a little bit longer after it took the tower. So, yeah, another nice win there versus a pretty funky mortar deck. Again, I have no idea why he had, like, Baby Dragon in the mortar deck. I also have no idea why he went for a naked poison iron tower. He just, like, we had nothing there. He just poisoned nothing except our tower, basically. But I guess, like, that's kind of what I expect early season. Anyways, we're versing looks like Japanese player here, so we could start off with the Goblin Hut. I like starting with it. I think it's pretty defensive. Really don't see... Okay, EQ. So what's interesting about Earthquake is now that the Goblin Hut spawns a couple, sorry, not a couple, 3 Spear Goblins when it dies, I actually feel like EQ isn't even the best counter to the Goblin Hut anymore, just because when you Earthquake it, it still spawns a few waves, and then when it dies, it spawns 3. So it really... Okay, let's go for bats here. Yeah, looks like he got damage here. Because he was a bit aggressive, I'm going to try to be aggressive myself here. And he's going to have Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is going to pick up that miner. Solid defense on his part there. Actually a little bit nervous here how we're going to manage his defense because... looks like that works really nicely. Goblin Hut has a lot of HP, so it managed to tank a bit for that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Survived just long enough for that Hog not to get a hit, so wasn't bad. I was expecting that to be a little bit worse, honestly. I thought he was at least going to get like a hit or 2 on my tower from the Hog Rider, but obviously wasn't the case. Worked out really nicely for us. So we're just going to kind of chill here, see kind of like what he wants to do. So I guess we'll just bar barrel because I don't really think we need it in this matchup because bar barrel isn't even that good versus the Firecracker. Okay, looks like I made my first mistake. Oh my gosh, but guys, this is why I don't like the Firecracker. I'm sure a lot of you guys can, like, relate. This is why I think the Firecracker is one of the most annoying cards in the game. Like, sometimes I don't know if it's going into the other lane or not, and, like, I play my poison too early. Oh my gosh, hopefully we can come back here, because that was really, really unfortunate. And it sucks the Firecracker one-shots the Dark Goblin. It almost makes me wonder if Firecracker could work well in this deck with just how annoying it seems. Oh, looks like he had to play the log early, so the Skeleton Barrel locks on his tower. Oh my gosh, he had to go for an EQ. Yeah, that... Okay, now, guys, tides have turned. That was a great Skeleton Barrel, but as you can see, just really annoying for the other person to deal with. Poison on the Firecracker. He doesn't end up catching the miner, so just like this, things are starting to turn around pretty nicely for us. We're gonna go for a high Goblin Hut, and he doesn't Earthquake it. We're gonna go miner in the front this time, so he doesn't catch it, hopefully. It looks like he doesn't. Poison is going to finish off the game, and that's going to do it. So, despite us wasting a poison, we still ended up winning the game, mostly because I guess he kind of freaked out, didn't defend correctly towards the end, and that ended up kind of costing him there, that he had to Earthquake on defense. That's usually never something you want to do, especially after he already had to spend Elixir on the Skeleton Barrel, that he had to EQ as well. That's just a bit... really big overcommitment on defense. So we're one game away from 6K. I think we might as well just try to get 6,000 here. This also might put us in the top 1,000, so I think this would be a good spot to... good goal, getting 6,000, and call it a video there. So once again here, go ahead and start with a Goblin Hut, and see what he... Okay, it's another Hog deck. We're versing a lot of Hogs. Well, the last game was Hog. Maybe the... Oh, Hog EQ. Is this just, like, the same deck? It definitely could be. Unfortunately, we don't have a Skeleton Barrel in rotation. If I did, I definitely would have played it. And it's looking like the exact same deck, so we'll try to beat it again. I mean, it could be a couple things could be different about it. Maybe he doesn't have Firecracker, but I don't know. From the looks of it, looks like it's the exact same thing. Knight's going to fully counter that mini P.E.K.K.A. And we're going to Skeleton Barrel with this Knight having a sliver of it remaining for kind of tanking. And then we're going to go for a Goblin Hut. I was a bit late on it, so it doesn't pull the Hog Rider. But honestly, I think it's not too big of a deal, because this way at least we have the Goblin Hut still up, which is kind of annoying for him. But obviously I think it would have been a little bit better had it actually pulled the Hog Rider. But then it makes me wonder, if it ended up pulling the Hog Rider, would the Hog have gotten like too much damage on it, killed it, and then like I wouldn't have even had the Goblin Hut up remaining, if that makes sense. So it's really hard to say like what would have been better in that situation. But okay, we're actually not going to play the Goblin Hut, because I think it's better here to go for a bit of a counter push. If you guys didn't know, he just spent so much elixir there. He went mini P.E.K.K.A. and Hog, which is 8 elixir. He also missed the timing on the Dark Goblin there, so that was definitely worth it there to ignore his Hog Rider. Not necessarily ignore it, but defend it lightly with the Dark Goblin, which I feel like has a bit more counter push potential than spending a 5 elixir Goblin Hut that we would have had to play pretty late, and we would have had to drop it like over here, because by the time we played it, we wouldn't have been able to drop it in that spot, because the Hog would have did what it did before and gone to the tower, which wouldn't have been good. We're going to Dark Goblin, making sure it's spaced out so we can't like EQ everything, which would be really bad. So Barbarrel's going to kill the Firecracker, send in a Miner in the back, which he doesn't catch because he doesn't have a lot of elixir. And I could even go for a poison here, finishing off these bats, which also might allow the Knight to get to the tower, or him to have to spend elixir on it, which is ideal. Does end up going for Earthquake here, so because once again he decides to spend 7 elixir, I'm going to be a little aggressive myself. We're going to Miner in the back this time, because I don't want him to easily predict it, but it looks like it ends up getting distracted by the Firecracker, which kills it, which, you know, I guess isn't too bad, because the Firecracker is pretty annoying, and I guess it's good if we kill it. But things are getting a little close here. We need to make sure his Hog doesn't get any hits. The Firecracker might propel itself into the other lane, but I think we have to poison. We just need chip damage at this point. He lets one of the Spear Goblins connect. Miner connects to the tower barely. I didn't think it was going to. I thought it was going to hit the mini P.E.K.K.A., but I guess the mini P.E.K.K.A. was barely too far away from it, and Miner ends up getting the damage it needs, and we end up taking the tower there. So pretty nice games. I'm really liking this deck, despite the couple mistakes we made. It's pretty clear Skeleton Barrel's much better than it was before. Really, really annoying, super fast, whereas before it was quite slow. You had much more time to react to it, and when someone's spamming like bats behind it, Dark Goblin, Miner to tank, it's just much more frustrating to deal with than when it's really slow and you have more time to kind of plan out how you're going to defend it. It kind of reminds me of like the Hog Rider. The Hog Rider is really quick. You always have to react pretty fast to it. That's why, like in this video, for example, I misclicked a couple of the Goblin Huts because I didn't play them fast enough. So it's gonna be 6,000. We're 888 in the world. 888. Nice number there. And make sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let me know if you guys would like to see more Skeleton Barrel or Goblin Hut decks. There's one with Graveyard. I don't know if I have it on. Yep, this one right here. If you guys want me to do one like this deck, let me know. I could play like a GC with it or ladder. I feel like Goblin Hut in general is just so much better right now. Don't think it's a broken card. If anything's broken right now, I think it's the Skeleton Barrel. The Skeleton Barrel, I think, is better than the Goblin Hut. They both got a buff and they're both better, but I think the Skeleton Barrel got the better end of it, if that makes sense. Anyways, thanks again. Until next time, guys.